she is just keeping her head above water. What's up, good people? This is your brother, your uncle, your favorite realtor's favorite realtor, back with another reaction video. Oh, I saw this video on Instagram and I thought this was literally going to be a teachable moment. And I don't really like to react to stuff on TikTok and Instagram because a lot of that information, the people that are talking, they just be talking. I thought this video was very, very important to share. And this is going to be a teachable moment because this young lady featured here, fortunately, is a bit of a quandary, and essentially she's a real estate professional that has a problematic outlook on the real estate world. The information that she shares with her clients is even more troubling. So I want to be sure to give a big shout out to the Social Proof podcast. The host here I met not too long ago, good dude, and this is his podcast where he's interviewing someone that's a real estate professional. As always, if you enjoy the content, your brother, your uncle, your favorite realtor's favorite realtor throws up, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get started.
Can I just intervene right quick?
Yes.
What if it's just really not realistic for them? Like, you just know, like,
Who are you to say what's realistic for them?
knowing the requirements and versus where they are now, I can kind of make an assumption on
What's your dream?
my dream.
And see, when she says assumption, I'm wondering what she means by that, because the only people that should be making the call on whether or not a client can afford something is the lender. So if you're a real estate professional, never tell a client, and I get hit up all the time, still treat them the exact same way. Even though I know this house is more than they can afford based on what they tell me about their income situation, I still will put them through to my lender partner to let the lender partner be the bearer of bad news if necessary. There's a lot of ways that people can get a loan. They can bring on co-borrowers and things of that nature. So I never like to even give that energy that a client cannot afford something without the lender first confirming that.
Real estate, honestly,
Or
like,
just describe the dream with some numbers and
to be able to live freely on my own schedule, making money, show up in this
how
world,
much money?
enough to live. Honestly, I don't want to be living in survival mode anymore. I want
And see, that's key right there. She doesn't want to live in survival mode. So that tells me, and she said anymore. So that tells me that she currently feels like she is just keeping her head above water, and unfortunately she is doing quite a bit of projecting onto her potential clients, and that energy people can pick up. And the fact that she doesn't even know her numbers as far as where she needs to be to get to $50,000 of income in real estate, $100,000 of income. That is problematic. And if you're watching this channel, if you click the link in the description below, I give all real estate professionals an absolutely free tracker as a gift from me that you can use to know your numbers and know where you need to be as a real estate professional.
I don't know what that looks like yet because I haven't got to that, but I want to be able to live comfortably.
That is a tricky word. Comfortably is a tricky word.
Until my bills are paid and I'm able to eat every day without, tapping my neighbor and saying, "Hey, Paul,
I'm gonna buy, Nate.
yeah.
You be tapping your neighbor like I'm gonna buy?
That's a dream to me though. That's a realistic dream.
I think that went over her head. She didn't get that reference. All of my 80s babies, that was a line from the movie Set It Off. Fortunately, it was just talking about neighbor. One of the characters felt like there was no other option to go to, so they put themselves out there in not the best way. I don't think she meant that in that context because it sounded like she did, but I just think she was a real young person and didn't know the reference.
I think you're projecting on your clients.
Okay.
You're projecting your struggle mode on them. So when you see somebody who makes $3,000-$4,000 a month and say, "Hey, I want to buy a house," you say, "Whoa, hold on, your credit, you gotta fix your credit. You don't have enough money saved.
Okay.
Hold on, you can't do it right now. Hold on, you gotta fix stuff," because you don't dream.
Okay.
Your dream is to be able to survive. You're doing it right now.
It's all a mindset thing. I mean, literally, if a buyer reaches out to you, real estate professionals, I ask a few basic questions like, do you know what your credit score is? What do you currently do for a living? But really, I kind of keep it on just the credit score and timeline. So if they tell me that they're interested in buying a home now, then I'll immediately put them in touch with my lender partner. If they tell me, more like 6 months, then I'll still introduce them to my lender partner just so they have an idea of what their number is at the present time.
You're living your dream?
No.
You don't have one. That's the challenge.
I just told
I
you my
said,
dream.
no, you said my goal is to not have to tap my neighbor and ask for money and to be able to not struggle.
Okay.
Last comment here, or the last caption says, maybe I don't dream. Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. Anyone that wants to do real estate full time, you have to have a game plan on this. I can't tell you how many instances, unfortunately, I've seen of failure in real estate. This is a cyclical business. Right now, as of this recording, interest rates are a lot higher than it was this time last year. So it's harder for buyers to get into homes, and sellers that are sitting on 2 and 3% interest rates. What are they going to do if they were interested in selling and upgrading, for example? Well, basically they'd be giving up their 2% interest rate. So I just feel like this young lady should not be doing real estate full time with this mindset. She needs to get her a part-time job, because if it's to the point to where you're asking your neighbor for help and things of that nature, that means that you didn't have a clear plan going into this. You didn't have a runway. You didn't have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up. You know that in this business, especially real estate, it's going to take a while until you get your first deal. You might be super blessed. I don't use the word luck, but you might be super blessed and get a deal that pays you a $30,000 commission in your first 30 days. But the likelihood of that is almost zero. So
Yeah, I envision things. More of like a
You don't
vision.
even have a vision because you haven't painted it. You said, I want to make enough money. What the heck is enough money?
Well-
you make enough money right now.
Well, to me, it's not more so about the money is why I'm in real estate. It's more about the impact. So I would rather impact people than make money. So I try not to look at the money aspect, even though
that sounds completely altruistic and that sounds good for the gram, but you got to keep the lights on. And if things are a struggle for you as an entrepreneur in the real estate profession, you will project that energy onto your clients. You're going to have what they call commission breath, which is when you are literally giving off the vibe of a desperate person that's just trying to help that person find a home so you can hurry up and close them. And it's not necessarily the home that you truly believe is the best home for them, but you're just trying to see how quickly you can get that person to the closing table. And clients can feel that energy on you. So you definitely want to operate from a position of abundance. And if you're not quite there yet as a real estate professional, then you need to keep pushing.
I'm not saying it's not important, but my goal would be like to make 3 to 4 closes monthly.
Okay.
And that would be a dream for
We're
me.
getting somewhere.
Okay.
How much does that make?
A 3 to 4 closing, on the low end, I would say about $40,000 a month.
$40,000 a month?
Yeah, maybe.
About how much do you make now?
In real estate,
Just period.
probably $40,000 a year.
Do you think $40,000 a month is realistic?
Yeah, again, she is not buttoned down her numbers. She doesn't know her exact numbers. She just kind of came up with something arbitrarily. The average commission is usually 2.5% to 3% of the sales price on average nationwide. And I'm assuming, because I know the guy here that's the host. So this podcast is filmed in Georgia, where I am, and the average price of a home is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 to 500,000. So if you take 3% of that, that's not anywhere near $40,000 a month. And having 3 to 4 closings, and currently coming off of $40,000 a year, as she indicated she makes. So I think for her and the mindset that she has and what she projects to her clients. So I don't think she's being very realistic here. I think she's just kind of talking, and that's okay. But she definitely needs to get with a coach, get with a mentor, and really know what her numbers are and have a game plan on how to get there. Hey, if you've made it this far in the video and you are a real estate professional, consider partnering with me here at Real Brokerage. Pay nothing per month, get a fantastic split, and you have the opportunity to build a business through revenue share and stock purchases. Book a call at the link below in today's video, and I'm happy to have a conversation on why I was able to grow my business exponentially by moving my practice to Real Brokerage. All right, back to the video.
Of course, I know it's realistic.
But how is that realistic for you, but it's not realistic for someone who wants to have the house that they want?
I'm not saying it's not realistic
That's
for
what
them.
you said.
I'm saying it's a process, is what I'm saying. If you're down for the
understand.
process, then it will become more realistic. But you have to understand the process in order to know if you're down for it or not, is all I try to convey to my clients.
But right now, what I'm feeling when you talk to these people is you're painting the picture that sometimes what they want isn't realistic, because that's what you said to me. You're saying, well, you got to be realistic. Well, what's realistic? What's unrealistic about somebody who makes $3,000 a month that wants a mansion in Buckhead? What's unrealistic about that?
They could have a ton of debt. That would be unrealistic if they had a ton of debt and they only make $3,000.
Do you have a ton of debt?
I don't have a ton of debt, but I have a fair amount of debt.
So, based on your standard,
you see how the host flipped it on her? Like, she was very easily saying, "Oh, I can do 40,000." Again, not being realistic. You have to be realistic as an entrepreneur. You don't go all into real estate without some type of game plan, some type of runway. I don't know if she works another job or if she quit her job, but you definitely don't want to go into this thing unless you know, or real estate, at least over a period of time, has generated you enough income to replace what you currently make at your 9-to-5 job, or, you know, it could even exceed, for example. So most individuals that I walk through, you know, whether or not it makes sense to make the leap to full-time real estate, I'm looking at, do you make at least 50 to 60% of your income through real estate as far as what you make in your 9-to-5 job? If you're not quite there yet, you might want to keep real estate as the side hustle for right now. Yes, of course, if you work in a situation where you're restricted and you're not able to take clients on showings, well, that's why it's important to partner with another real estate agent that can do those showings for you, or have a focus on just listings. You can have a 9-to-5 job and just do listings for individuals, because those don't require too much of your going back and forth to the property, especially once the listing is active. So she is, let's just keep going.
$3,000 a month. Mm-hmm. You have a ton of debt. You have a bunch of debt, and you want to make $40,000 a month. That's not realistic.
It's realistic.
But you're saying it's not realistic for them.
Okay.
I'm saying the same standard that you're giving yourself in terms of there's a process.
I'm projecting.
You're projecting that because you're not allowing them to go through the process. Oh, you want a 5-bedroom house? Cool. Man, you make $3,000 a month. This is how much house we can afford right now. And if we get this house, it'll raise in equity in a couple of years. That little business that you had will grow.
Another thing I'd like to know is, what is her daily activity? What's her daily activity at the present time? How many calls is she making? What is her current ad spend to generate leads? How is she creating leads? Because if the ones that she's got coming in, she's telling them what they can't afford, or maybe there's a certain type of demographic that she has only connected with, what is the activity that she's doing to get her to that $40,000 a month? This is only a 4-minute clip, and I hadn't seen the full podcast, so maybe she broke all that down, but I'd be curious to know. And if you've seen this podcast, let me know in the comments of this video how she is currently generating leads at the present time.
We can take the equity out of that, put it into a bigger house,
Yeah.
In a few years, you'll be living your dream. Let's go. But you're not giving them that because you don't have that for yourself.
And see, Shans is being brutally honest, as he kind of has to be. So this show, I think, is kind of, this part of their podcast, I think, is like kind of Shark Tank-ish, if you will, where you run a certain idea by him and he lets you know the viability of it. He is a real estate investor. He's not a real estate agent. And what he's saying, I mean, is brutally honest advice. And I really hope that she takes that to heart and actually moves forward with a little bit more optimism for her clients, and definitely having a game plan for herself on how she's going to essentially do the things that she is proclaiming that she can do. And I know a lot of folks do all of that. Well, I'm going to just talk about it until it happens. I'm going to manifest it, all that jazz. I stay grounded in reality. And ultimately, if you don't reverse engineer a $40,000 a month lifestyle or $40,000 a month commission, it's just not going to happen. So it looks like that was the totality of it. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I try not to be judgmental in any way. I look at a person's fruits and I judge the fruit. And based on the fruit, I don't know this young lady personally, but based on the fruit of what she's saying, she definitely right now would not be the best person to have as a real estate professional if you don't believe that your income is where it needs to be. Because ultimately, as real estate agents, our job is to be guides. Our job is to be fiduciaries. And at its basis core, our job is to be an encouragement for individuals. So if we think that their credit or their income is not where it needs to be, I let the lender tell that client that first. And then once the lender has told them what they can afford, if it's below where they need it to be, then I offer insight on places to get your credit, get help with building your credit back up, strategies on finding employment opportunities, whatever the case may be. I try to give an idea on next steps after they've talked with the professional. And ultimately, if they can't afford anything and their credit isn't where it needs to be, I'll still keep them on a drip campaign. I'll still keep sending them homes that are within where they would like to be, just in case their situation changes, because we all in life, we never know how our situation can change. So I ultimately want to be an encouragement to any and all clients that are interested in reaching out to me. I will keep them grounded in reality based on what the lender tells them they can or cannot afford. For the next video, this is your brother, your uncle, your favorite realtor's favorite realtor, signing off.